beautiful when we're apart. So let's explore. Good evening. We have a few minutes before we kick off with our 7 o'clock interview, and I'm extremely excited about it. I have 3 handsome, so very respectful young men backstage waiting to get started with us in just a little bit. But I wanted to talk and share some announcements before we get started. That way I'm not keeping them on longer than they have to be. Perhaps right now they're either grabbing a snack or finishing up on some homework. And I know this is a very busy time of the year. So we are going to give away a prize for this evening, and the prize tonight is going to be an Ode to be a Bulldog. It's a coloring book set with crayons in there, and it also has the Ode to be a Bulldog children's book. So if you answer our question correctly, the question that we come up with in just a little while, you can win this activity set. And we will look later to see who won our Starbucks card from our last session. And I can tell you that our BJ's Big Dream gift set is going to Minister Lakeisha Wilson. She was on with us this morning. So we have had a full day of launching this book, Marching Around the SHUMARD. This book is a middle level chapter book. It's a continuation of BJ's Big Dream, which was my very first children's book. It was an Amazon bestseller, reader's favorite. It was recently selected for the Just Like Me book box, where many children are receiving copies of this book. This was back in 2016, and this book was inspired by my son, who, when he was 5, decided he wanted to grow locks. He loved Bob Marley. He loved Bob Marley's hair, his clothing, his style, his music. And it didn't happen for him right away. It took my son several years to grow his locks. So he went from between 5 and 7 all the way up until about 15 when his hair actually started to take off. And it wasn't always an easy journey for him, especially as athletically involved as he was. So I learned from him, because I kept saying, just give it up. Just give it up. It's not that important. He had perseverance, he had faith in his dream, and he just was not going to give up. And so I said, that is an amazing recipe that children all over the world can learn from. Am I saying children all over the world want to grow locks? Absolutely not. But I am saying that children all over the world have a dream for something. And I don't want them just to have small dreams. I want them to have large dreams, and to know that if they have enough faith, patience, and desire, they can pretty much achieve whatever their dream is. So because that was such a popular book and so many children loved it, they always ask me, where is BJ? What is BJ doing now? Like, you left us hanging at the end of the book. He went to school and that was it. So can you write something else? And so I pretty much missed my opportunity to write more when these children were in elementary school. So I've always wanted to write a chapter book. And this is it. This is the response to children saying, where is BJ? We want to know more about BJ. Well, BJ is in middle school now, and his hair has grown longer, but it hasn't been easy, and it's not easy. And you'll see the challenges that he encounters in this book. And in this book, he is trying to stay in a place that he has actually earned, but it's about to be taken away from him because of his hairstyle and his hair texture. And so he has to make some hard decisions. Am I going to be who I am and happy to, and who I'm happy to be? Or am I going to assimilate? Am I going to conform so that things get easier for me? And then when you do conform, will they really be easy? Just some questions that we'll talk about with our students in a minute. But again, it's been an exciting day of talking about the book. We interviewed with the real BJ this morning. He kicked us off. And then the last hour, we actually had attorney Larita Yusuf on with us. She's the author of 2 books that we share, Aki Bum Bum and Montgomery Took the Case. And she talked with us about the Crown Act and just where it is, where it might be going. And so make sure to go back and watch that one. But if nothing else, I do want you to know that Marching Around the Shumard is live on Amazon. It is in Kindle version and it is in paperback. It is in Kindle version for only $5.99. You may not be interested. You may not have children between the ages of 10 and 14. That's okay. You can give this book to someone else, someone else's child. There's someone who can benefit from this because it not only teaches you to accept and be happy with who you are, which builds your self-esteem, but it also lets you know that you can use your voice in a polite way. You can use your voice and you can be peaceful and you can be respected. And so that's what Marching Around the Shumard is. And I have to give a shout out to my line sister, Cottrell Cobb's house, because this beautiful tree, this is my very own Shumard. I came home from running errands this afternoon and I was met with a beautiful tower of balloons. So I knew I wanted something special for today. Didn't exactly know what. I never in a million years would have guessed that I could have my own Shumard tree. That's just not something that I would have ever thought of. But because Cottrell Cobb's house is so very creative and she's so good at what she does, she designed this for me. And so I want you to hit her up for your next event. She is at balloonenvy.biz, B-I-Z, and you can get yard parties for whatever occasion you might have. And just know that she is going to do amazing work. She is going to exceed your expectations. So please do give her a shout out. I am trying to go live here on my computer so that I can see if anybody has any comments or questions as we go through this broadcast. And I'm going to bring my students out in just a few minutes, remarkable young men that you will love getting to meet. So give us just a second as we get everything all set up and we're ready to talk about this book from a student's perspective, because who better to talk about a middle level book than actual middle schoolers. So gentlemen, I'm coming for you. And I'm missing someone. There you are. Awesome, awesome. So these are three very intelligent, very articulate young men that I'm extremely happy to have with me tonight. We had some other schedule for the broadcast, but things came up to prevent them. And I love young males. I do. I have my own. I don't want you to think that I discriminated. I did invite a couple females, but they just were not able to be on with us tonight. So we're going to enjoy hearing things from a male's perspective tonight. And I'm going to just get right into our questions, gentlemen. So if you'd like to all unmute, I'd like for Will, if you would start, if you introduce yourself, tell us anything else that you'd like to know beyond your age, your name, and just whatever you'd like to know. Any activities that you're involved in, as well as any interest that you have.
Hello, my name is William Wright. I'm in the 8th grade, and when I want to be a software developer when I grow up. I was recently accepted into my high school magnet program to become one.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Alan.
Hello, my name is Alan Wright. I am in the 6th grade, and something about me is that I like to play baseball.
Awesome. Very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for being here with us. We're grateful. And Titus.
Hello, my name is Titus Smith, and I'm also in the 6th grade. I want to be an engineer or a mathematician when I grow up. and the book really helped me and inspired me to learn a lot of stuff that I never knew.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I will come right back to you in just a minute, and I hope that you can expound on that for us, because that was certainly one of the questions that I wanted to ask. But I would like to tell you just a little bit more about these gentlemen. William and Alan are the sons of a very, very dear friend of mine. We go back to way back. I can't even tell you how far back, because we grew up in Lawrence, South Carolina, in probably less than a mile radius. And we went to the very same schools. Now, I will say that she is younger than me, but she's always been someone that I've always admired. And so she and her sons have been extremely supportive of this effort. And I would be remiss if I did not say that I appreciate you all for reading it early on and giving me feedback. And so it's a great pleasure to have the opportunity to talk with you about it tonight. And Titus is also known as TJ Bizkid. And so he is the author of 2 books, TJ Bizkid's Amazing Lemonade Adventure, which is a bestseller on Amazon. He is also the author of TJ Bizkid's Business Adventure. It's also on Amazon, and he knocks it out of the park with book sales, with lemonade sales, and he does a lot of things. So I was so elated when I heard from his father, Dr. Smith, that he would be able to join us tonight. He was also one of the beta readers, and I'm grateful for the feedback that he has given us. So Titus, you have said that you learned some things from the book. Would you elaborate on that for us?
Yes. The book taught me more about perseverance, and that if you keep trying, you can accomplish your goals. And the book, it really helped on that. Like the story, it was about him persevering. It also taught me that there are more types of discrimination, but to be aware of that, but not to feel bad, and it's just who we are, and that's good.
Awesome. So I mentioned earlier how self-acceptance and self-esteem are definitely characteristics that I want young people to come away with, that who you are, the way you look, the color of your skin, the texture of your hair, you are perfectly and wonderfully made just as you are. And I want you to know that, and I want you to never change that for anybody or to fit in any kind of way. And so I'm not going to preach. I said I wouldn't, but I'm so glad that you picked up on that point, that that is definitely something from the book. And perseverance is definitely a characteristic that can be described as Briston, because he enjoyed karate and he had the opportunity to play or to compete at the state level. That could have been taken away from him. But until the end, he was going to fight for his opportunity to be in the space that he had been basically recognized with and awarded. So I won't give too much away from the book. I don't want to spoil it, because just like you all, I want other people to read it as well. So William, we'll come to you, and anything that you'd like to share with us, any feedback of maybe something that you gained from the book or something that you really liked about the book.
Something I really liked about the book was it was very relatable. From the first 5 pages, I could tell it was going to be good, because the detail in which you explained his life, I thought it was a book about me.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And it's interesting. Your mom and I talked about how, I read books often, and they're from students who may be from a completely different socioeconomic background, or the household structure may be different. And I find a lot of that. And sometimes we need for children who look like us to have books about children who come from homes that may not be necessarily the status quo or what other people perceive to be, the way we live sometimes. And so I wanted to somewhat highlight a middle class experience. And this young man has a two parent home. Now, every home is different and there's no home that's right or wrong. But like I said, so many of the books that I read seem to come from a much different perspective, especially if they're not necessarily written by us. And so I'm glad that you were able to relate to the character. Alan, what struck you about the book? What would you like to highlight?
More like what you and Titus were saying, the perseverance. It's like it reminded me that you have to persevere through whatever you're trying to do and what your dreams are, no matter what other people say.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, that is certainly a great point. And again, it is certainly one that I want our readers to know. Titus, I want to come back to you for a minute because you, in your quote to me or your endorsement, you talked about family and how important family is. So I gather, and I already know that family is extremely important to you, but you picked that up about Briston and how he depended on his family. Can you talk just a moment about that?
Yes. I think how it was good that most of his decisions about how he would take stuff in school or his family helped him out on that. So it helped him perfect his answer and choose the right decision because I think he had one decision which he thought that he was right, but after he talked about it with his family, he was convinced to do the other decision.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And I'm so glad that that stood out to you because there is power in that, respecting the fact that at a young age, you know a lot, you know a whole lot, but you don't know everything. And your parents have been around for much longer than you have. And one of the important things that I wanted to put in the book was every night the family had dinner time together, and it was a roundtable discussion. Even when the mom picked Briston up from school, if there was something important, she didn't talk about it on the way home. She saved it because she wanted Briston and his dad and her to talk about it together as a family. And that is so very important to share and to be able to share. And there were times when Briston he didn't want to be bothered. He didn't want to get everything out or talk about, especially when he had that very bad hair day and people talked badly about his hair. He didn't want to talk about it, but the parents just kept pushing and pushing to get him to open up. And I think he felt better after he finally talked about it. But it's just, again, that point of parents are older, but they still need to know what's going on in our lives. And they really do have some wisdom that can help us. Any comments on that topic before we move on from William or Alan? Just, chime in as you'd like to.
The part where they had family meetings on every day, dinner, was relatable to me because we talk about everything with each other, as we go throughout the day. Well, at the end of the day, we pretty much ask each other how our day was while we're eating and stuff like that.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad you can relate to that. And Alan, I saw your mic off. Did he take everything you wanted to say?
Some of it, but with the bad hair day, I don't think that ties more in the perseverance, because I know being talked about it hurts sometimes, and it sometimes you might not want to keep going, but you have to persevere through.
Mhm. Wow. Wow. I couldn't have said that better. And honestly, that wasn't even going to be a part of what I was going to discuss tonight. But I am so glad you went there because Titus said earlier he hadn't really even thought about this as a type of discrimination. But that took me back to middle school. And I can openly talk about this now because I'm healed of it. I've dealt with it. I've come to terms with how it affected me in my life. But perseverance is definitely a characteristic that I get to put on my resume because it didn't just start in middle school. It was when I was in second grade. And, you know, I used to share my story and sometimes people would laugh and you might laugh. It won't bother me. But honestly, like when I was in second grade, if I weighed like 127 pounds when I was only 7 years old. And then every year it's like I gained an extra 10 pounds. And by the time I was in sixth grade, I got up to like 172 pounds, only at like 5'2", 5'3". I think I got up to the height that I'm at now, 5'4". But I was picked at. I really was. And so on field day and in relay races, nobody wanted to pick me because I just had so much I was carrying. It wasn't so easy for me to make it to wherever I was going. I wasn't an ideal teammate. But you know, we go through everything for a reason. And I believe the compassion that I have now for people who may be picked at or talked about or left out, that's where I got that from. That built compassion in me. And I'm not going to get off the subject too much, but I now understand why that weight came. When I was 4, I had a pack of German Shepherds chase me down. And this, y'all can laugh if you want, but I was running from them and I ran into a tree. And so they all just like hovered over me. But my dad was there and thank goodness he was able to pick me up and carry me away. So what I found out most recently is that fear that was in me that day has pretty much manifested and it's ruled my digestive system so that I'm always, you know, going. And it's so much cortisone and cortisol that I just, cortisol is what I'm trying to say, that caused that weight issue. So I was picked at because I had been traumatized and I was a victim and I really didn't realize why I was running all of my life. So I just say that to say, you know, whether it's weight, whether it's complexion, whether it's shoe size, whether it's, you know, how athletic you are, there's always going to be something that somebody can find to make you the underdog. And I guarantee you that each one of you, because you are so smart, that has been the subject of your ridicule. And I can tell you that I was ridiculed as well. And it wasn't like, you know, I was the top student in my class or anything, but perhaps because, you know, I did better in my classes than somebody else did, you know, oh, you think you're so smart and you think you're white. You may have even heard that at some point. But I hope that Briston can show you and teach you and just give you some encouragement to keep going and be the brilliant, beautiful young man that you are. Keep pressing on and don't stop and, you know, give weight to or go down to somebody else's level so that they can be happy, because they won't. As soon as you give up your smarts to be on their level, they'll find something else to steal. So thank you so much, Alan, for bringing that up. Is there anything that William or Titus would like to say along those lines? Have you experienced any of that? Or what is your advice to someone who may endure some of what I've said as far as ridicule?
To persevere, and even if it gets worse and worse every day, find something to look forward to and keep going.
Awesome. Great words. Great words. I can tell that you are the son of not just one, but 2 ministers, because you just preached us a very good message. Thank you so much for that. Anybody else want to comment on that? Titus, you might even have something else to say on that.
Yes. When you're persevering, you have to keep going and don't let it get to you, because if you let it get to you, then it will discourage you to keep persevering. So just don't let it overcome you. Keep saying that you can do it so you can persevere the whole way.
Awesome. Awesome. Love it. Love it.
So I think that kind of like what William was saying, to persevere and kind of talk to people that you know that are in your circle, so that they can kind of be there to encourage you to do all your things no matter what the other people are saying.
Awesome. So, what I'm hearing from you is that there are going to be a lot of voices, and some of them you should listen to, but some of them you shouldn't. And it's important to know which voices to listen to and which voices not to. So, when they're saying, "Ooh, wow, you need my comb," or "Ooh, did you forget to comb your hair?" or "When was the last haircut?" Those are not the voices that you necessarily need. So as soon as something penetrates your ear, then you get to make the decision, keep it in or let it go back out. So I encourage you to have positive affirmations that you say every single morning. I am smart. I am brilliant. I am wonderful. I am fearfully made. All of these things so that negativity has no way and no place in your mind. And yes, all of us are going to be negatively impacted, or there are going to be times when we hear things that disturb us. You know, we all have egos, or I don't want to say egos, but we have pride. We want to feel good about ourselves. We want to be well perceived. And when that doesn't happen, it makes us sad. We want people to like us. Everybody's not always going to like us, but it can be hurtful, especially if it's somebody you really like, or if it's somebody that you thought liked you. So Briston has a very diverse group of friends, and they like to do a lot of different things. I do want to open it back up and see if you have any other comments from the book that you'd like to mention, but I do, before we go there, I want to ask you, let's see, it wasn't about the Crown Act. There was another question that I had for you, and I'm trying to just see what feedback or questions that we might have from our live feed. So that's why I'm just a little bit distracted now. So I do apologize. Forgive me for that. I do want to thank everybody who is watching. I see many people out there, too many names to call, so I do apologize for that. I do think I can see now if there are any comments where you are able to, if you want to type a question in the chat, or if there's something you want us to discuss, do let me know. Let me move on and just ask. So this is the first book in a 3-book series, and I have some ideas for the next 2 books. The second one I've actually started on, but can you all give me any feedback? You know, what if you were writing, or just what else would you like to see Briston encounter? I can tell you that just based on my writing, it is going to be something that is going to empower youth. What is an opportunity for me to really make that happen in the next book?
So this is just me personally, but I think it'd make a great story if Briston was graduating, maybe college, and going off into the world.
Awesome. Awesome. So we will certainly keep that in mind, but I can tell you education is going to be at the forefront of whatever Briston does. Any other ideas, any other feedback about Briston?
I think that there should be a little bit more on picking yourself up whenever people put you down, to make themselves feel better.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
And when the book when the book ended on that good note leading up, maybe in the next book we can see like more effects of that high note that happened at the end of this story.
Okay, awesome.
And maybe some bad effects that happened because of the high note that what happened.
Okay. And I love the way y'all are helping me protect the story. It's like you don't want to just get out there and share. Thank you, because we want the audience, we want those who are following and listening to go buy it so that they can read it. They weren't beta readers like you. They don't get a complimentary copy. They have to go to Amazon and they have to pay for it. So I received that. I will take all of that advice into consideration when I pen these next two. And I do see that we have a young person watching, and she made the comment that people who make comments about our hair or our clothing or the way we talk or the way we sound, those people don't feel good about themselves. We know that. So always realize that when somebody says something to hurt you, that person is generally hurting about something else. I remember, and I was so hard on myself because when I was in second grade, I kicked a boy, and I think I kicked him in the stomach. And that was so not like me. I'm glad that my teacher realized that something was wrong and that she needed to pull me aside and talk to me. Now, she could have marched me straight up to the principal's office, and my parents could have had to come pick me up and take me home. But she didn't. She said, "This is not like you. What is going on?" And I bullied him because somebody else was bullying me. And that was cowardly. That was terrible for me to take my hurt out on somebody else. But that's what we do when we pin things up that come to us that really shouldn't. Sometimes we just don't let it out in the right way. And that's a part of growing. So when I look back at it, and it hurt me really badly that I had hurt somebody who hadn't done a thing to me, I vowed that I would never, ever, ever do that again, that I would rather be bullied and picked on and suffer that hurt myself than to cause pain to someone else. And that's another one of those characteristics that I have within that keeps me wanting to protect other people from being hurt. So just know whatever negative is reflected on you, most of the time it's not even personal. It's not even about you. It's about that person feeling badly for some reason or another. Any comments on that? Well, the other question that I wanted to ask was, have your school policies, do they dictate pretty much how you can wear your hair? Is there freedom of hairstyles at your school or freedoms of expression? And along those same lines, is there anything about your dress code or your school codes that maybe you think if you were in charge, you would do things a little bit differently? Any feedback on that?
I would say like in my school, they wouldn't care much about hairstyles. Like some people have locks, some people have other different hairstyles. But for the dress code, like they are kind of strict on that, except on some days, and you can't wear hoodies or sometimes. I wouldn't say you couldn't wear hats, but they don't expect it. And not really, yeah, just a normal dress code.
Okay, so can you wear the like hooded jacket? You just can't put the hood over your head. Is that what you're saying? Or just you can't even have the hood? Okay.
You cannot put the hood over your head in person or hybrid or on Zoom.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
When we were still in school, I know the dress code for my school was that we had to wear, well, there was no hair dress code, no hair coat. We could have it whatever color or whatever shape or size. But for the clothes, we had to wear like I think it was khakis or jeans and a collared shirt. So
And were you fine with that? Did that work well for you?
yes, but I don't think that's not really fair because some people may not have that, and that's not really fair to them because you would have to sit out and not be able to participate in stuff if you weren't wearing the right stuff.
Wow, that shows me where your heart is, that you have a heart of compassion because you're looking out for the next person who, may not necessarily be in your shoes. They just may not have, and to be discriminated against or separated or segregated because you don't have, that's difficult. That's a different one. And it's hard to watch that happen.
Um, um, in my elementary school, we didn't have a dress code, but there was like, we didn't have a hair code, but we had a dress code. And we had to, we couldn't wear our jackets in the classroom because it was in the middle of winter and we were cold and we couldn't wear our jackets. But nobody knows why. I don't know why, at least. Somebody might. There's probably some reasoning behind it, but I haven't seen it yet. That and book bags. I see the problem with book bags, but it makes it harder to walk around the school, like arms full of binders and books, notebooks, and things like that.
Wow, you raised some very good points. And I know that I can be very cold natured, and sitting in a classroom where the air is blasting and I can't wear my jacket. That's a difficult one. And I remember even back at least 15 years ago when I was an assistant principal, I dealt with the issue of girls being sent out because they were in class, honestly, with a blanket on. And they were just that cold. And so what do I do with that? Because you're cold, but you're not allowed to get warm. So yeah, that's been an ongoing one for a very long time. And having to carry all of your materials loosely without a book bag, that can be difficult as well. So you've raised some very, very good points. So sometimes, what we've come to realize is that it can be hard to be in compliance, but, we want to do the right thing. And you all are young men, role models that I know will continue to do the right thing. And I encourage you to continue reading all you can, writing all you can, articulating, taking on speaking opportunities like this when you can. And you're going to just continue to do well. I can't wait to see that day when you all actually graduate. I'm not rushing it. I want you to enjoy your middle school years, enjoy your high school years, but I just know I'm going to see great things as you continue to matriculate through school. And so your big dream could be on the front of a book cover as you fulfill these, as you go about your lives. So I want to thank each of you again for taking time tonight. I know it's a very busy time of the school year and you probably have homework waiting on you, but that you took on this extra reading assignment is phenomenal. And that you joined me here tonight is phenomenal as well. So I appreciate each one of you. Thank you so much. Thank you in advance to your parents. And you will be hearing more about the Briston Collins series. Again, book 1 is available on Amazon, Kindle, and in paperback form. Right now, for the second one, we are planning that Briston is going on a field trip, but I can incorporate some of those things that you have talked about, that you want to see him persevere more, that you want to see him putting education in the forefront. And whether he goes to college in the next couple of years, that's definitely on the radar. So we'll be writing more about that. So do either of you have anything that you'd like to say? Anything that I didn't cover from the book that just maybe you'd like to talk about just for a minute? All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you to our audience. We greatly appreciate you. Oh, we have our giveaway. And I have been struggling trying to come up with a question. So either of our young men, Alan, William, Titus, either of you, the first one of you, can you think of a question, and whoever types the answer to this question in the chat is going to be the winner of our gift package that is sponsored by Balloon Envy. Balloon Envy has been so very generous to us. They are sponsoring this O to Be a Bulldog gift set, and they also are responsible for our Schumard tree that you see behind us. So what's our question? What's our trivia question for our audience?
Maybe what does perseverance mean for you?
Ooh, oh my goodness. See, I was just getting ready to ask something silly like, what is a Schumard? Do you know what a Schumard is? But see, you went deep and you went to the underlying meaning of the book. I appreciate that. I am typing that in the chat, and the first person to tell us what perseverance means to them is going to get our gift. So let me type it in. What does perseverance mean to you? Wow. Thank you. Thank you again, gentlemen. I pray that you will have a good night and continue to be awesome, continue to be well. Speak those affirmations and do not let that negativity sink in. Peace and many blessings to you. Y'all have a great night.
I wanted to thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you again for allowing me to be a beta reader. I really enjoyed the book, and I hope you have a good day too.
Oh, how sweet and kind. Thank you so much. I received that from both of you. I appreciate that.
Yes, and thank you for allowing me to be here on the call. I had a lot of fun, and when I started reading the book, first I thought that I was just going to only read 2 pages and then give an answer, but then I spent the next 2 to 3 days reading the whole entire thing.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And your mom joined us tonight, TJ Titus, and she is the winner of our O to Be a Bulldog package because she says perseverance is to never give up, to stay on course, and to not get distracted. And I know that's what you all will do because that's what you've already done. So thank you again. I can see the audience there saying awesome things about you, and you can read them in the chat later on. Just some awesome feedback. So everyone, I can't call out all of the names right now, but thank you all for joining us and being here. And young men, have a good night. I do appreciate you again.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Good night. Awesome. Thank you again, Tammy White. Thank you, Tammy White Richardson, for being here. Tanya and your precious daughter, Yolanda, Tony, thank you for being here. Mo, I saw you earlier. And there were probably some other ones. Cheryl, thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate you all. And again, I have been just abundantly blessed by the amount of love and participation that we've had, the feedback and the support of Marching Around the Schumard. It is available on Amazon Kindle and in paperback. And tomorrow I have a very special announcement. I'm floored and I'm honored, and I greatly appreciate it. So, Latasha, thank you so much. The perseverance to you means that you will have to grow and not let things get to you. If you embrace that right now at your young age, your life is going to be even more blessed. You have a wonderful mother. I know she's guiding you well, and she said she was getting my book for you. Let me know what you think about it, and thank you for supporting. I hope that you will enjoy and you will follow the series. Thank you all from Hadassah's Crown. Love you. Have a great night.